All right, welcome to another episode of the Plug Podcast, Music and More with Bushy and Metal Mike. I am Bushy on the other side of the camera. We have Metal Mike. How are you, brother?
Hey, dude, what's going on, man? Good to be back.
Yeah. This is fun because we got to act like we're recording another show on a completely different day. But we just finished our welcome back episode. It'll be up on the YouTube channel.
The fuck,
And
dude? Way to ruin the illusion.
yeah, let's do it. Let's just say it.
Jesus Christ.
We even
You're
went.
the kind of guy that you would have been one of them dudes if we were in on a fucking series. You'd have been the guy that would have leaked out. You're the reason why when Dallas did, and this is reference to our last episode, that when they shot JR, they actually filmed every cast member shooting the gun. So they wouldn't go and blab about who the real killer was. They do shit like that for people like you, Bushy.
Yeah. Oh well, what can you do? But yeah, we're back. We're going to do full force football. That's why we're dressed in our gear.
Yes, sir.
I'm wearing my most hated piece of Cowboys gear. This is their division championship hat from last year because I really thought they were going to make a run. Fucking Cowboys. Ah, it's a team I hate to love and love to hate. I tell you what, man. I get nothing but off with these guys
this is what I'm wearing, folks. The real America's team.
Oh boy.
Actually, I hate that moniker. I wouldn't like it. You know what was funny? They actually had asked the Steelers when they were came up with that term, NFL Films, and Art Rooney said, no, we're not America's team. We're Pittsburgh Steelers, and he goes, yeah, that might be cool that other American towns and identify with us, but he just felt it was kind of an arrogant statement, America's team, which it was. But to be fair to the Cowboy organization, they didn't come up with it. NFL Films did. So if people want to get mad at NFL Films.
I thought that was a Tex Schramm thing because he was shrewd. He was
really.
I think that was a
maybe it was, but see, I thought it was an NFL Films thing.
That was Tex Schramm. He came up with that. He came up with the cheerleaders, the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. No other team was using that. He made that huge.
Are you sure? Because the Steelers used to have cheerleaders back in the 50s and early 60s.
Yeah, they weren't like the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
No, I mean, not as glamorous. Yes. Yeah.
He brought all that marketing.
I thought you meant because I'm like, well, wait a minute. I know Rams had cheerleaders back in the day. And look, man,
Tex Schramm was a brilliant marketer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Redskins thing, because Washington was really fighting an expansion. They didn't want an expansion team. They didn't want it in Dallas. He said that doesn't represent the East Coast at all. All valid
right.
Points. Yeah, all valid points. Tex Schramm said, okay. He went and bought the rights to the Redskins fight song so that Washington couldn't play it at their games. I mean, there's a reason that was such a storied rivalry in the 60s and 70s,
Oh, yes. Yes. I mean, it's just as intense, especially back in the day, as the rivalry between like the Bears and the Packers, or the Steelers and the Browns, who became the Ravens, the real Browns.
Yeah. See
what I did there, Charles Trainer?
Yeah.
He's gonna be like, man, this motherfucker.
I know, right?
But he's a Browns fan, so I gotta have fun, He's always posting, that Steeler fans are stupid.
Oh, yeah.
Look, I understand there are a certain segment of fans, and I think every fucking team, every fan base has it. Whether it's sports or whatever, that you have a segment of fucktards. And the Steelers have their share of fucktard fans.
Oh, Dallas does too.
Of course they do. Every team does, including the Browns.
Dallas is every year. It's our year.
Oh, every year.
Every fucking year. I'm like,
ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen as long as you got Jerry. You know what? Best thing that could happen to you, and I know this is gonna sound horrible, but I gotta say it. I don't wish death on anybody, especially me. I have no fucking horse in this race. I'm not a Cowboys fan,
right.
But unless I think Jerry Jones is way too much. He's done a lot of good for the Cowboy organization, but the way he does things sometimes, like, okay, right off the bat, I don't really didn't mean to go into the Cowboy history vortex, but hey, fuck it. The way he got rid of Tom Landry, I thought was a little fucked up.
Yeah, I agree.
Removing him was one thing. I understand why Jerry did it and it needed to be done.
Yeah,
But he even said, man, I should have handled that better.
the game.
He said though that Tom was very gracious and cordial about it. And I'm like, well, of course he is, because Landry had class.
Yeah, he was a class act. He wore a fedora. Come on.
Yeah. Well, and he's one of the greatest coaches ever, man. I mean,
We'd-
Chuck
we'd
Noll's
have-
better, but
We'd have more decency in the world if we all wore fedoras. Let's go back to men wearing hats all the time, not just ball caps or cowboy hats.
right.
Let's go back
Oh
to
yeah. I love those old hats and shit.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
like the movie I mentioned before we recorded our first episode, The Maltese Falcon. Everybody's wearing fucking hats in that movie, fedoras and I like the way dudes dressed back then. They were real men, god damn it.
Yeah, wearing the derbies and shit.
And they didn't fucking play the sap for anybody either.
Vernacular. That's a
No simps in the Maltese. Well, actually, there are simps in the Maltese Falcon, but goddamn it, Sam Spade wasn't one of them. Anyway,
Before we go too far into this full force football, I'm not even sure where Metal Mike wants to go with this. I've got to talk baseball for a minute, just for because I'm sorry, last year Kansas City, man, difficult team to watch. They didn't hit their 50th win until like August 26th.
my condolences.
Last year. This year, however, if the playoffs were right now, Kansas City's in the playoffs. So they've turned that season around. Cleveland, and that's the funny thing about Charles. I never see him mention baseball at all.
But I'm sure he is a guardian. I mean, they call them the Guardians now.
Yeah, they're fucking Indians. I don't care what they say. That's like they want me to call Fort Bragg, North Carolina, Fort Liberty. Fuck you. That's Fort Bragg. Sorry. I'm not changing it just because you're woke. But
wasn't that
they're number one.
Wasn't it originally named after Braxton Bragg?
Civil War.
The old Civil War general?
Yeah. Fort Lee, Fort Bragg. They'll probably keep Sam Houston as Sam Houston because that was the Mexican America War.
Mexican American.
Yeah.
I like to get up in the morning, but they have to because I got to get to work on time. All right. Anyway, sorry. Anybody Cheech and Chong fans?
Yeah. Oh, God, I hope so. Or canceled.
Fuck them.
Look,
I dare you to fucking try to cancel me because I still ain't going to shut up.
Exactly.
Fucking spineless pussies.
But I would like to say congrats to my Kansas City Royals for having probably one of the greatest turnarounds in baseball history between last year and this year. It's much like Dallas Cowboys being 1-15 and then going to the Super Bowl. Same idea if you ask me. So good job, Kansas City. Let's keep it rolling. My favorite catcher is playing first base all the time now. That's wild. Salvador Perez is first baseman now. That's wild because I'm so used to seeing it behind the plate. But yeah, man, Bobby Witt Jr. is knocking balls out of the park. I think he just hit number 30, which you got was Aaron Judge hit number 50 the other day. Good for him. But fuck, man, number 30 from the Kansas City Royals, that's doing something. Good job, guys. Make a run. Let's make a run. I didn't think I'd see him make a run for another 30 years. I had to wait 30 years between World Series.
Yeah, we don't have that problem in St. Louis, but I do want to talk about them a little bit too when you're done talking about your team that robbed one of the World Series that they got from us because they had a fucking shitty umpire that was on your side. Anyway,
Boy.
but I've said this before.
Tell us your butt hurt without telling us.
I will say this before. Oh, I was butthurt. At the same time, though, I was also
1985.
But I was also mad at the fucking Cardinals because they buckled like a goddamn belt, and champions have to overcome adversity. And sometimes you got to beat the umps and the refs too. And you fucking bitches buckled like belts, and so they fucking fell apart, especially in Game 7. You know, I remember when the beginning of the fucking game, man, they're doing, you know, and they're all doing it, and the fucking Cardinals are in their, you know, dugout, and they're looking all bummed out. My dad said, "Look at the fucking Cardinals; they just look dejected and bummed out." I said, "Yeah, we're gonna fucking lose because they've already were beat. They were already beaten when they lost that game. So you know what? Sometimes you gotta fucking, you know what? We might have beaten the Rangers when we won our last World Series, but you want to talk about a team, and they eventually did get their World Series. I mean, who didn't." They didn't have the word quit, man. That fucking World Series, one of the greatest World Series moments in Cardinal history.
Yeah.
When David Freese did what he did, because I was pissed, man. We're losing. We're down. I'm at work. I'm done with my med pass, done with all my work. I'm in the fucking lobby watching a fucking game. And I'm like, fuck this motherfucking bullshit. And I get in my car and I'm driving. And then I'm like, oh, well, fuck it. So I turn on the radio. And David Freese hits a home run. I about shit myself. So I'm driving and I'm in a hurry to get home. And I watched the game, and you know, that game went into extra innings.
Yeah.
It was one of the greatest World Series games I've ever seen, man. And then I knew right then there, I'm like, we're going to whip their ass. And we did the next night. But even then the Texans didn't give up, man. They had more. I mean, I'm sorry. I love the Cardinals, man, but that was disappointing me because, like, you got a bad call. Yeah, it sucks, man. But sometimes you got to overcome that shit. And they did. They just fucking fell apart. They just fell fucking apart. You know, so I was as mad at the Cardinals as I was, you know, at the ref. But I do like to make jokes about, because, dude, there is a sports bar in St. Louis that literally has a painting called The Call, and it's that painting of that dude, you know, which is hilarious, you know. So we try to have kind of a sense of humor about it, you know. I'm not really that bitter. I'm over it.
So I need to come and visit you with some KC Royals gear and get a picture of me next to that picture.
Yeah, there you go. But I will say this about the Cardinals. I'm very concerned as a longtime Cardinal fan about the direction the franchise is going. I think John Mozeliak, great president. I think he's done a great job with the Cardinals overall. I think Bill DeWitt's been a good owner. Last few seasons, though, man, last few years, they've done some things that to me are questionable. Some of the trades they made, some of the moves they've made. And again, with some trades and some moves, so hindsight can be 2020, and I get that. You know, I always try to go, well, was it a good move at the time that they did it? But one of the things I always took pride in as a Cardinal fan is, because let's be honest, man, and I don't give a fuck. Look, I acknowledge that great teams like the Yankees and the Dodgers have a great farming system, but they also have a lot of fucking money. I'm sorry, but I've always felt there should be a fucking salary cap in baseball. I don't think it's fucking fair. There needs to be one. I'm never going to stop talking about that, guys. There should be a goddamn salary cap, because it's not fair when you got your big, and who's the big cities? Okay, well, you know,
LA, New York.
LA and New York. And Mark Alden Taylor, I love you, but come on, man. You got that fucking phenom fucking pitcher, dude, you know, that fucking player, can't Otani or whatever the fuck his name is, you know. I mean, dude, you can't tell me that the Dodgers don't fucking make moves and fucking spend those Dodger bucks, that LA money, because you guys got more of a fucking, you got more money than St. Louis. I don't give a fuck what people say. Now, with that being said, am I taking away anything from the Dodgers as far as an organizational standpoint? No. Right. Like I said, because they do got a good farming system. You gotta, to me, being a good team and being a successful organization, you gotta have what I call homegrown talent. And the Cardinals used to have that. Here in the last few years, though, man, they've just made some moves, but the biggest one, the one where I thought, okay, what's going on here? Because they don't do shit like that, is a couple of years ago when they got rid of, who's, by the way, made this team a lot better, probably much to Mark's chagrin, because it's a division rival of both the LA Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants, but the San Diego Padres coach, Mike Shildt. Mike Shildt took the Cardinals. He took over when we got rid of Mike Matheny, which I think Mike was a great baseball player, not so great manager.
Right.
And again, that's a hard act to follow. Fuck Tony La Russa, dude. You know, come on.
Yeah.
But and now I have to wonder, over the years, is a lot of the great moves been made by guys like La Russa? Was I giving Mozeliak and Bill DeWitt too much credit Maybe, maybe. I still think that Mozeliak more than likely could be possibly a Hall of Fame famer. Um, it's kind of like, and again, I know people are going to go, but I think one of the things I always took pride as a Cardinal fan is they kind of operate the way the Steelers do. The Steelers don't panic. They don't freak out. They don't, oh my God, and they don't fucking try to buy their Super Bowls. They try to build the team through the draft. They'll get free agents here and there.
Yeah.
And I think that Kevin Colbert is a future Hall of Famer. I mean, let's be honest. He drafted the class. I mean, the Steelers he drafted while he was there went to 3 Super Bowls and won 2.
Yeah.
He's going to get in. But with that being said, I think the last maybe decade, he was slipping, man. I mean, come on. He drafted Kenny Pickett. And look how well that turned out.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Really shitty. Now, part of that I think is on Kenny, though, because he pissed me off. Because if you're so confident that you're so good and, and you feel like you didn't, I'm thinking because he was a first-round pick, he was kind of getting a sense of entitlement. Because when he found out the Steelers were going to get Russell Wilson, why wouldn't you get a Super Bowl winning quarterback for nothing? Okay, because Denver's paying him all this money. What could it hurt? Like, if you're so confident, because they say, well, Kenny's just really, really confident. Okay, well, then what are you afraid of? Why were you so fucking adamant against? You demanded a trade because you got pissed off that they went after Russell Wilson, which Mike Tomlin literally just announced Wilson as the starter just now. Yeah, they said he was in pole position, but that was after Kenny left. Right. But what I do love about the Steelers is when a player wants to leave, when we ship them to some place they're not going to thrive. Like, okay, Deontay Johnson at Carolina, he'll probably do all right, but good luck, bro. Look what happened to a lot of teams when we get and Kenny Pickett, all you did was fuck yourself. You still had a shot, dude, at being the starting quarterback for an NFL franchise.
Right.
You fucked yourself because you're never going to be the starting quarterback in Philadelphia unless Jalen Hurts gets hurt for the season. And even then, it's only going to be for a while. You fucked yourself, dude. Like, you are a coward. You were afraid to go up against let's be honest. I mean, I think Russell Wilson can still be a good quarterback, but his best years are behind him. So what were you afraid of? Like, why didn't you just compete for the starting job? If you're that confident that you can do it, and then he goes to Philly, and at first everybody's like, oh, the kid in preseason. He looked good in preseason last year, and look what happened. But the whole team played like shit. It wasn't just Kenny. I mean, and I do think they're going to get better. I know they've revamped that offensive line, and I think they will get better. But we'll get to that in a minute. Kenny Pickett, though, yeah, Kevin Colbert, there's just, if you go back to some of his first round picks, I would say within the last 10 years, there's been some misses, man. He was kind of losing it. And I think Mozeliak's losing it. And one of his stupidest, and at the time, I thought, well, what was going on behind the scenes? Because Schilt took us to the playoffs that year and kind of took us, not all the way to the World Series, but he did a good job. And they fired him. They fucking fired him. And I remember at the time I was working at Elmwood Nursing Rehab, which was literally hop, skip, and jump from where I live. The residents that lived there, all of us were fucking shocked because that's just not Cardinals don't do that. Cardinals don't make knee-jerk reactions, and neither do the Steelers. Like, even though he was a horrible offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, they fired him in the middle of the season.
Right.
Steelers don't usually do things like that, but that motherfucker needed to go. But my point that I'm trying to make is the Cardinals. I mean, I don't know, man. I think Mozeliak needs to step down. I hear he's going to do one more year and then he's going to step down. Well, it can't be too soon. I'm sorry, but we're not that good. We're not that great of a team. And I think part of it was, as Cardinal fans, we're kind of spoiled. Well, no, we aren't kind of. We are fucking spoiled. Okay, we are. I mean, but. I don't know, man. Like, and I think it all starts getting rid of him. Now Schlitt's fucking doing a great job and with the Padres. And I'm like, and I found out later, because apparently he was shocked when they fired him. He was completely shocked. He didn't see it coming. It broke his heart. He was a Cardinal guy through and through. He'd been with the organization for a long time. He did things the Cardinal way. Now he's brought that Cardinal way to San Diego. And where are we at? I think the coach we got or the manager we got now sucks. I think he's a yes man. I think Bill DeWitt and John Mozeliak have huge fucking egos. I think I'm not going to, but it's like Jerry Jones syndrome. Jerry Jones has an ego about the size of the fucking, no, he's probably got an ego about the size of Cowboy Stadium. You get Jimmy Johnson. You let go of Tom Landry. Again, could have handled it better. See how I went right back to your Cowboys?
Yeah.
Could have handled it better. Then you fucking hire Jimmy Johnson. Good move, right? I mean, let's be honest. Those 3 Super Bowls you won, even though Jimmy wasn't there for the third one, it was his fucking team. He built that team.
Right.
Okay. That and Larry Brown Neil O'Donnell giving the game away to you guys by throwing to Larry Brown with no Steeler anywhere around him. Not once, but twice.
Right. Yeah.
Remember that video you showed me with that mobster talking? I'm like, And then what Neil O'Donnell do? He takes a huge contract with the New York Jets and then sucked after that. Fuck you, O'Donnell. And that hurts because I'm Irish. Anyway. So
My favorite Steelers quarterback.
yeah, I bet he is, dude. So with that being said, I think that Jerry Jones, they've never, when he got rid of Jimmy Johnson, man, and I've often wondered if there wasn't a curse with that. I mean, there was people who say the curse of Jimmy because the Cowboys, they declined after that. And even though you've had good teams and good players and you just can't quite get there. You can't seem to fucking punch your ticket or cross the finish line. And I have to wonder if some of that, I think you guys are sabotaged by your owner. I'm just going to say it right now. I really do. I don't know. I know Jerry Jones's son kind of helps with the team. And I got to admit, some of the great players, apparently he had a hand in drafting. I kind of often wondered, well, what would happen if he took over? I don't know, man. Like, I mean, Jerry, he's good at marketing. Like Cowboy Stadium is a beautiful stadium. I mean, but I think he needs to kind of take his hands off. It's like, let your coaches and your team, your managers and your people do their fucking job, man.
Yes.
I think he's just way too hands-on. Kind of like the previous Redskins owner. Daniel Snyder was fucking terrible with that shit, man. He was worse than Jones. It was this billionaire who was like a little kid.
Yeah.
He'd make these idiot moves. And I'm like, I mean, I got a buddy of mine who's a Redskins / Commanders fan. You know what his fantasy football team's called? Because they've suffered for so long. Washington the Pain Down. Isn't that great?
That's good. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just one of those things where I think, Jerry's world, man, I think sometimes he needs to let some other motherfuckers live in that world because I'm just like, I don't know. Like that your playoff collapse against the Packers, man. Don't get me wrong. I think the Packers are going to be really good.
Yeah, they're going to be
really good. Team. But I mean, I was expecting more of a game, dude. That was embarrassing.
Yeah.
That was like, I mean, fuck, dude. That was like, fuck, man. I was like just shocked almost. I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, it was difficult.
And I know like Mike McCarthy gets a lot of shit, and Bill thinks that Mike McCarthy at one time is a great coach, but that he's lost it. I know there's no love between him and Aaron Rodgers. I'm sure Aaron Rodgers was probably at home with his foot plopped up, fucking loving every minute of that game.
Right.
I don't think it's anything against you fans of the Cowboys. It's all about, him and Mike McCarthy didn't really see eye to eye all the time.
Yeah.
But
and McCarthy's a coach that it's like, yeah, I know he won a Super Bowl, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah. Fuck Mark McCarthy. But that's me.
Yeah.
I'm a little bitter about that Super Bowl.
I saw that they did finally sign CeeDee Lamb, but now he's like the 3rd highest paid player in the league. That's not a quarterback. CeeDee's,
and they still got to get Dak taken care of.
Well, yeah, because now Dak, he's going to bitch. Oh, well,
here's the thing, though. Here's the thing with all of it.
Dak asking for money because get us to the game. You keep wanting all these fucking pay raises. They give you the pay raises, but you're not getting us to the fucking dance.
Right. Well, here's the thing. Also, like I guess he's under, or he's going to be due for another fucking contract. I don't know, because there's speculation. Could he go to the Steelers next year? It ain't going to happen, folks. All right, look, my fellow Steeler fans, Dak Prescott is not going to be a Steeler quarterback. It's not going to happen. They'll get a deal done. Dak ain't going anywhere. Okay,
Yeah, that's
it ain't going to happen.
now. That's Jerry's Wonder Boy. I mean, he should.
Well, who they got behind him? Y'all made a trade for, and that's another thing. Trey Lance is awful. 5 interceptions in 1 preseason game.
Yeah.
What the fuck? And how could San Francisco miss on that so bad? Like, because San Francisco is really good at drafting. They built the super. Think about it. They're so badass, Bushy. They miss because they traded up to get Trey Lance.
Yeah.
And they're still fucking stout and still kicking ass with Mr. Irrelevant. Are you fucking kidding me? Most franchises make a move like that, they're going to pay for it for the next few years. Another franchise that impresses me, and it pains me to say this because I live in the St. Louis area, so I'm a little bitter, even though I'm a Steeler fan. My NFC team was the Rams. When I was a little guy, it was the St. Louis Football Cardinals. And that's part of my hatred for the Cowboys, Bush, because y'all were in the NFC Central with us. Okay. But I remember as a little boy and a young kid, I was upset when the Cardinals left and I felt betrayed. And I didn't realize at the time, because I do remember one of my earliest memories of football in our area was my dad and his buddies bitching about how shitty of an owner Bill Bidwell was. I've come to realize that I don't think Bill Bidwell was a bad man. I think Bill Bidwell wasn't the best owner, but I think he's just clueless.
Yeah.
He just wasn't, he didn't always make the right moves. Like when we had Don Coryell as our coach and he took us to the playoffs 3 times. Yes, I know that St. Louis Football Cardinals were 1 and done in those playoffs, but God, at least he got us there. And I think we would have gotten better. He gets rid of him. What happens? He goes to San Diego and becomes a legend, becomes Air Coryell.
Yeah.
But at the same time, and it wasn't until I saw a documentary a few years ago, and it was right around when Stan Kroenke was pulling his shady bullshit here. And they showed a documentary about it and how unpopular owner, but they show this film footage of when Bill's telling the city of St. Louis goodbye. Bushy, he was crying.
Right.
He got emotional. He didn't want to leave. He just wanted a new stadium. And at the end of the day, I don't really think that was that unreasonable. What's really weird is he tried to get, because the city I was born in, the little town I was born in, Alton, Illinois, which has actually got some historical significance. We have Alton's Gentle Giant. Robert Wadlow lived there. There was a famous abolitionist by the name of Elijah P. Lovejoy who printed an abolitionist paper, and he stood up to those. I guess a bunch of guys from Missouri crossed the Mississippi River one night and attacked him. And he was a man of God, but he didn't go down fighting. He killed a few of them with him. He wouldn't stop. He was like, fuck you. I'm not going to stop. This is what I believe in. And I have the right to, if you don't like it, I mean, he may have been a Christian, but he wasn't all about turning the other cheek either, apparently, and he believed in his convictions. Well, they come after him and they killed him and they threw his printing press into the Mississippi River, which really was stupid. Again, redneck thinking, because all they did was make a martyr out of him.
Right.
The big monument to him. But Alton, there was talk that Bill Bidwell was going to build his stadium there in Alton, but the NFL and everybody blocked it because Alton wasn't a major city. But it's like, but we're a hop and skip. It would have worked because the people in St. Louis would have just crossed the goddamn bridge and fucking still seen the Cardinals. But
it doesn't make sense because the Buffalo Bills don't play in fucking Buffalo. They play outside of Buffalo in Orchard Park. And that's not a big city, Orchard Park. It's practically suburbia. Well,
that would have been the same thing, which for me would have been great. I mean, I would have been living that close to Cardinal Stadium. That ruled. And I was a fan, but I was very angry with them. So then I became a Steeler fan full time. After that, it was my AFC team. They were always my AFC team. And part of that's because you got to understand, Bushy, I was a child of the 70s. And who were the 2 most popular teams? Steelers. Cowboys. And I was a Steeler fan. But I loved my Cardinals too. I mean, in fact, I got excited because when Coryell took us to the playoffs, a few of those years is when the Steelers. I always wanted to see a in which they were good. They were good, but they were never going to be that good, even with Coryell as a coach. And also, Bill Bidwell was a little bit tight with the money sometimes, so it was like he wouldn't spend the money when we needed him to. But I always wanted to see. It's funny. I finally did see a Steeler Cardinal Super Bowl, but that's when they were the Arizona Cardinals. But I was still kind of like when Kurt Warner threw that touchdown and it looked like, oh fuck, man, Cardinals have come back. I was upset, but at the same time, I'm like, well, if we're going to lose, because St. Louis guy, I love Kurt Warner. I'm like, I can't think of anybody better to lose to than Kurt fucking Warner. I love that guy. Still love that guy.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember when they got rid of him the first time, him saying, look, I was pissed because I'm like, that's our Montana. That's our fucking Elway. That's our Staubach and Bradshaw. And they fucking took him away from us.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of moves that the Rams as an organization made that frustrated me. And over the years, I realized that right when we knew for sure they were leaving, who's their other two top draft picks? They got Aaron Donald, and then they ended up fucking getting good players.
Yeah.
And I'm going, you motherfuckers. I think they were getting shitty draft picks on purpose. They were tanking the draft on purpose so it'd make them easier to move. Because next thing you know, man, and now you got Sean McVay, and here's a guy who gave up a shitload of picks to get fucking, Matt Stafford, which it paid off, won him a Super Bowl.
Right.
Really helped the Lions. Holy shit. But the Rams, everybody thought was going to take a step back. They weren't going to be as good. And dude, I think the Rams, fuck, man. So even though they don't have any, I think maybe this year or next year will be their first. Yeah, I think next year, maybe they had a first round draft pick this year. I'd have to do a little research on that, guys. I'm sorry. But the point I'm making is the Lions, no, they didn't. I think the Rams
things I never
pretty soon they're going to get their first round draft picks back is what I'm saying. Cause they gave up a lot to get Stafford. And I thought, oh my God, this is just going to kill them. They're going to be shitty. Yeah. They're going to win their Super Bowl, but they're buying their Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And the thing that's amazed me the most, and it fucking pains me to say that, but I got to give McVay credit. He's still keeping them competitive. They're still good. Because even with their second rounders, they get guys like Puka fucking Nakua. And they're still like, that guy's a good coach, man. They lose Aaron Donald and their defense was still stout. Like, I got to give them credit where credit's due, man. But it also pisses me off because it makes me realize we could have been that good probably all along. This was a Kroenke thing. Fuck you, Stan Kroenke, you fuck. I forgive you, Bill Bidwell, because I realized that you didn't really want to leave St. Louis. But Kroenke, you're a piece of shit, and I hope the Rams fucking suck. But I don't think they're going to, which makes me mad. Anyway, full force football. I thought we would just kind of do what we do before, kind of pick who we think's going to win the divisions and make our predictions and see where it stands.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You mean season as far as the season goes, or I mean,
yeah, I want us to pick who we think are going to be the division winners, who we might think are going to win wild cards, and who's going to fucking go to the AFC, NFC, to each, to who's going to be the NFC champion, AFC champion, and go to the Super Bowl.
Okay,
we did that. We did that last year, man. So I think it'd be kind of cool.
Absolutely. When I think about Dallas, I don't see, or if I think about the East, the only team that's going to give us any trouble is Philly.
Yep.
Philly's been strong. So
and even though they kind of faltered and fell apart, I don't think that's going to be the case this year. I think fucking Philly's going to be really good, dude.
They're
really
strong
good
team. I think Dallas and Philly fight.
If we're going to start, all right, let's start off the NFC and the East. I'm calling it now. Eagles are going to take that division, Bush. Sorry. But I think the Cowboys could be a wild card.
Yeah. I think Dallas takes a division, but we'll see.
Yeah, you're just being a homer. Anyway.
Philly, I already said it. Philly's going to be fucking strong. I mean, I know they fell apart at the end of the season. That's a bad time to fall apart. But
yes, sir.
It is what it is.
Hey, man, it's not always how you start; it's how you finish. And also, I think sometimes people need to realize it's not always the best overall talented team that wins the championship. It's the one who comes into the playoffs hot and keeps playing at a high level that win it all.
Absolutely.
And they go on a run and they just keep winning, and against all odds. I mean, we've seen that time and time again. So yeah, my pick, but I definitely think the Cowboys can compete, and not only that, if they don't win the division, I think Dallas could definitely be. They're the only two teams. I mean, Washington's rebuilding. Let's be honest.
They're rebuilding, and the Giants. I don't
And
know
the
what.
Giants are a fucking hot mess.
Yeah,
They're gonna suck. In fact, I'm taking them to finish last. I think you heard it right, folks. I think the Commanders with a rookie quarterback, because I think Jaden Daniels is gonna be good, by the way. They're gonna fucking finish third. So this is how I got it: Philly, Dallas, Washington, the pain down, and the Giants. The G spots are gonna fucking lose. They're gonna finish last. They're gonna suck. It's gonna be bad.
that makes me so happy.
But dude, think about it. How can I be wrong? I mean, look, they didn't really do anything to improve their team. They
No.
lost their running back to Philly. Okay. And Saquon Barkley, when he's healthy, is a monster.
Right.
And I'm sorry. I just don't see it, man.
It's going to be interesting. They move Saquon from Giants to Philly, and Dallas brings Zeke back. That's an interesting move.
But you know who I think is going to share the cowbell is going to be that Roman. Who is the backup?
Yeah, that young kid, because they got rid of Pollard. Thank God. I thought that was a bad call to get rid of Zeke and throw Pollard in there. I knew he wasn't going to be shit, and I was fucking right.
Yeah, I think Pollard's a great change of pace back. I think he's a guy that you can split carry. You know, like he seemed to thrive when he had, like, he might do okay in Tennessee because he's going to have Tyjae Spears running the ball also.
Yeah.
Pollard needs that power back. But if I'm drafting, if I had to pick between either guy in my fantasy football team, I'm going Tyjae.
Right.
Pollard, I took Pollard in my fantasy football team and fucking it really killed me. So my team, I still made the playoffs, but Pollard was a huge disappointment to me. So yeah, fuck Tony Pollard. Nothing personal, Tony.
Oh, he sucked.
Yeah, but he was terrible.
Only
And you guys still went as
around
far
here
because I think that was another thing that hurt you and maybe finally caught up with you. You didn't have a running game.
Yeah, and since when does Dallas not have a fucking running game?
Right. It was fucking kind of crazy. Well, I think that things didn't go according to. I think everybody thought Pollard was going to take that next step, except you.
No, because you just.
I was more of a believer.
Both those guys.
I was more of a believer in Dallas's O line than I was. That's why I took Pollard. I'd have to look and see when I drafted him. He wasn't like my top pick in that first round or anything, but I did draft him because I thought, well, fuck. I mean, but anyway.
You sit there thinking Dallas. I mean, they're a running team. They've always been a running team. Yeah, you'll have a star quarterback, but it's the fucking running back. That's what gets everything done at Dallas, and that's just Dallas Cowboys football. And when you get rid of a fucking powerhouse running back for some scrawny little fuck just because. And Zeke was willing to take a pay cut. That's what irritates the fuck out of me.
Well, he's back now.
Yeah, he was willing to take the pay cut. They're like, fuck you, bye. And
I know they treated him like he wasn't like I thought after everything he'd done for that organization, if he's willing to take a pay cut and he still wanted to stay, what was the harm in letting him stay?
Exactly.
I mean, it's like when Jerome Bettis was towards the end of his career, man. I'll never forget. He did take a pay cut and people were shocked by that. But he even said later, well, what's your quality of life? I go to another city, I'm beloved here in Pittsburgh, and what was fucked up is I remember because they got that he was, what was his name? God, they got a young running back from, Philly. He was a backup, good running back, but could not stay healthy to save his life. And he ended up going down.
Yeah.
And and comes the bus and tore it the fuck up that year. And he even said, I always knew I could carry the load, as he put it, and that was Ben's rookie year. And he tore it the fuck up, man. And so I definitely think Ezekiel could have still been effective, I mean, and now you got that young kid. I think that Ezekiel and him, I really got my eye as a fantasy football manager. I have my eye on that other guy. I don't know if anybody grabbed him I know somebody grabbed him in my 10-man league, but I'm going to look and see if he was grabbed in my 8-man league. Because if he wasn't, might have to go to the boneyard and grab him, man.
Right.
Just saying.
Yeah, Eagles and Cowboys fight it out for first. Yeah, and I definitely agree. Giants at the end. My loyalty to the Cowboys is going to call the Cowboys. AFC East, Bills, Dolphins, Patriots, Jets. I think the Jets will beat out the Patriots because they're just fucking shit.
Okay, the Patriots have got a new coach and they're rebuilding. They got a rookie quarterback. Yeah, anybody that's expecting the Patriots to really do anything ain't gonna happen.
No, and the Jets, is Aaron Rodgers playing this year? I don't even know.
And that's the X factor. If Rodgers can play half as well as he's always played, I think that's going to make the Jets a contender. Dude, they got everything. They've got the O-line. They've got the running game. They've got great receivers. Their defense is fucking awesome. Like the only thing missing is a quarterback. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't get hurt last year, I'm not so sure Buffalo wins that division. I'm just going to come out and say that right now. Buffalo, I think, is still the team to pick. But with that being said, they've lost some weapons. So it should be interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah.
I don't want to
division, I think, is kind of up in the air, other than we know that the Patriots are out.
Yeah.
Because
Miami, hey,
slouch team.
Miami, don't look past Miami, because one thing their offense, it's all about speed, baby.
Yes.
And they got some fucking burners on that team.
That's a fact.
And the only thing that's going to always hold up the Dolphins better hope they get home field advantage, because that's the only way they're getting to a Super Bowl. Yeah, I said it.
Yeah,
because they can't play in cold weather.
They can't play in cold weather, and they put the other teams in the fucking heat. You notice how they designed that stadium so that home team is always in the shade. Yeah, that's brilliant, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, it infuriates me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, hey, back in the day, Minnesota, before they had their indoor stadium, and I've often felt like it kind of took an edge off them. And I'd really be interesting to hear what Baco thinks of my theory here. But when the Vikings went, I mean, they didn't win them, but they went to 4 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
What did they play in? An outdoor stadium. And Minnesota has some fucking blizzards. If you're telling me that didn't give them a fucking tremendous advantage, man, playing in that fucking weather, fuck off, man. It did. It did. Because guess what? Hey, Baco, you guys haven't been to Super Bowl since. You haven't been to a Super Bowl since, Baco. Okay? You haven't been to a Super Bowl since. You've made the playoffs a few times, but you can't get it done because you guys need to have like one of them. I don't know what your new stadium's like, but it should have a retractable stadium. And when it fucking has a blizzard, y'all need to play in that blizzard. You might win a Super Bowl. Just saying, or at least get there. Goddamn.
Like Green Bay or Chicago in the extreme cold.
Steelers even. Pittsburgh gets cold. Cincy gets cold, man. I mean, I'm telling you, playing in the cold weather gives you an advantage.
Especially if you're from the cold weather.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Take a warm weather team like Dallas and send them up to fucking Buffalo when it's 20 below. There's going to be an issue for Dallas,
Hey, yeah. I mean, because they're pussies and they're used to, no, just kidding. I'm kidding.
They got the good life. The coolest it is for them is when they're playing at the Star practicing, and that's air conditioned, for fuck's sake.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Bills take it. If Aaron Rodgers is playing,
I definitely think the Jets could be a wild card, though.
Yeah,
and let's not count out Miami. So
yeah, those tough.
I'm going to make the safe pick and go Bills, even though I think they could take a step back. So it's very possible that either the Jets or Miami take that division. It could happen. That division's pretty fucking competitive lately. The only weak link is the Patriots, which I love.
Yeah,
I can't help it.
That's like my favorite thing.
Yes. Welcome back to Earth, motherfuckers.
Yeah. NFC North, we got the Bears, Lions, Packers, Vikings. I think Green Bay is going to be a powerhouse this year.
I think Green Bay is going to take the division, but I think the Lions are going to, it's going to come down between those two teams. The Bears, they got a new quarterback. They've got a lot of rookies. They're rebuilding. Now, do I think this kid's going to be good? Yeah. I mean, I even seen him play in the preseason, and people aren't even making comparisons to Patrick Mahomes. They're saying this kid could be that good. Who knows? Wouldn't it be amazing if Chicago finally has a franchise quarterback?
Yeah, that'd be wild.
That's what's weird. Historically speaking, folks, Bears only been to 1 Super Bowl. I've been to 2, but won 1.
Yeah.
But before that era, the Bears, right along with the Packers, were one of the first NFL dynasties. There's a reason why they were nicknamed the Monsters of the Midway. They dominated the 40s, man. They were the NFL powerhouse then. And a lot of it was all about I mean, look, running backs, defense, Bears are great at drafting, always have been. But these guys can't find a fucking quarterback to save their life. When Jay Cutler's the best quarterback you've ever had in franchise history, and let's be honest, that guy was inconsistent as fuck.
Yeah.
Y'all don't know what you're doing when it comes to quarterbacks. You've had dude fall in your lap. Maybe you finally got it right this time. We'll fucking see. And I'll give them credit for another thing in their draft. They put young playmakers around him. Oh, you're actually going to give your quarterback weapons, which is something they didn't do for Justin Fields, by the way.
Right. No,
I'm picking Green Bay. I think the Packers. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me. And again, fantasy football terms, Jordan Love was drafted really low in a lot of fantasy football drafts that I've seen. I ended up in one league taking Kyler Murray because I'm like, fuck, it was the 7th round, and I'm like, people keep forgetting that he got hurt and he didn't play most of the season, but when he did play, he was putting up great numbers. When it comes to fantasy football, man, your mobile quarterbacks is where it's at, folks. So I grabbed Kyler Murray. But if I hadn't of Jordan Love was on my list of people because I think he's a breakout. I think he's a sleeper. I think, let's just put it this way. I think next year Jordan Love will be drafted in fantasy football leagues a lot fucking higher. I really think and it scares me because I'm like, okay, they hit gold with Favre. They didn't draft him, but they made the trade in Atlanta. They hit gold with Rodgers. Now, and I remember when they did what they did with Jordan Love because they took him in the 1st round. And at the time, everybody, even me, was like, what are they doing, man? Like, and I was wondering.
Make it a
my
good
God,
career
man.
choice.
You know what?
That's
Maybe
they were
there's
doing.
something to take in your guy when you really believe in that guy. Like Atlanta got a lot of shit taking Michael Penix, but apparently they're convinced this kid's it.
Right.
That's the guy. And it's like, and Kirk Cousins, while he signed that huge contract, and I think he's going to be really good with Atlanta. He's got a hint. He's got injury. He can be prone to injury sometimes. I know some people, especially physical therapists, hate when I use the word injury prone. But you know what, Kurt, he's gotten hurt. Not a lot, but he does. He missed. Look what happened last year. So they may need old Mike, Mr. Penix sooner than you think. So, and they've been picking in the top for a while now. They've got some weapons, man, on both sides of the ball. Like Atlanta could be sneaky fucking good this year. We'll get to them in a minute, but I think Green Bay's winning the division, but don't be sleeping on the Lions. This ain't your daddy's Lions anymore, folks. It's kind of like the Bengals. Steeler fans, this ain't your daddy's Bengals, okay? We've got to just face the reality. The Steelers have been on top of the AFC North. It's usually between them and Baltimore for fucking ever. Bounce power's changing. Now, that doesn't mean that I think the Steelers are going to suck or anything like that. But, yeah.
I can tell you this. When we go to the AFC North, that's your Ravens, Bengals, Browns, and Steelers. I think the Ravens take the division. I don't
really.
I
think they're taking a step back, dude. I'm going to call it right now, man. They've lost some key guys. Yes, even though they got Derrick Henry, they lost some key guys. They especially on the O-line, we got one of their best defensive players in free agency. Love it.
Right.
Also, okay, I think the Ravens could end up taking the division. I'm not totally discounting them.
Right.
Either way, I'm going to tell you right now, Baltimore is going to get in the playoffs. In fact, it could end up being 3 teams from the AFC North. That division is loaded with talent on all 4 teams, including
even the Browns,
even the toilet bowl. The Browns.
Yeah. That makes me nervous just because Dallas goes to Cleveland for their first game. I'm like, let's not start off with that.
But I don't know, man. You guys with your quarterback
open with the.
I think the division is going to come down between Cincy and Baltimore. I think the Bengals are going to come back in a big way. You got to remember Joe Burrow got hurt. They had several other people get hurt. Yeah. If they can avoid the injury bug, I think Cincy is dangerous, man. I really do. I know they got this whole contract situation with Jamar Chase, which makes me nervous as a fantasy owner because he was my 1st round pick.
Yeah.
I had number 7 pick. And at the time, the coach says, oh, he's going to play. Now all of a sudden, whoa, motherfucker. Just pay the man. Hey, Mike Brown, quit. That's why you've never won a Super Bowl, Mr. Brown, because you're a chintzy fucking tight ass motherfucker. Anyway,
But yeah, Ravens, Bengals.
well, I'll
I
make
would
my pick.
stipulate.
The Ravens will more than likely take the division, but I don't be surprised if Cincy. So I'm going to go Ravens 1, Cincy 2. And I'm going to go Steelers 3. Sorry, folks. Until Deshaun Watson even shows any shade of what he was in Houston, you guys ain't winning nothing. You know, you're only lucky that you got Joe Flacco when you did. You know,
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I think Cleveland is loaded with talent. Loaded with talent. I mean, they got a great O-line. They got a great defense. They've got a great running game. Don't sleep on Jerome Ford. Jerome Ford is going to start as the Browns running back. If you look at his numbers, especially in fantasy purposes, that motherfucker was tearing it up.
Right.
I wanted to get him in the later rounds, and I did get Nick Chubb way, way late in the later rounds and put him right in my injured reserve spot. Okay. But I think Jerome Ford will be starting for them at running back. He was the guy last year, and he played pretty well. The Browns are the only thing that in my area of concern. If I'm a Browns fan, which maybe in an alternate universe, but not this one.
I've always liked the Browns.
Fuck off.
Not a fan. But I've always liked the Browns.
Why?
I like that dog pound defense. I remember Quincy Carter. Quincy Carter was the quarterback for Dallas. And that's the year the Browns squeaked into the fucking playoffs. And every game
they got eliminated by the Steelers. I remember.
Yeah. But the point is, every game they won in the last minute of the game, you know, right up on the goal line, hard pushes, running.
And you know what that is? That's a syndrome I call even a blind squirrel stumbles upon an acorn every once in a while.
Whatever. It was entertaining. It was exciting to watch. I got a soft spot for the Browns. They're not a favorite team of mine or anything. It's not like, oh, you know, Dallas isn't playing today, so I'm gonna watch the fucking Browns. It's not like that. You know?
Good God, I'd hope not.
But I like,
you know, when I go to take a dump, I have an expression I use, Bushy. You know what it is?
What's that?
Taking the Browns to the Super Bowl, because this is the only way they're ever going to get there.
Oh Lordy. Let's go to the NFC South. Falcons.
Now, but with that being said, though, before I go any further, I do want to say this. Even though I'm not a Browns fan and I say a lot of shit about them, I will say this. If they win the division, if they even make the playoffs, believe it or not, last year, I'm a big believer that even though they're my division rival, I'm proud of the AFC North, probably more than I've ever been. It is the black and blue division of football. There ain't no fucking pussy teams that play in the AFC North. No flash technical. No, it's all fucking smash mouth, old school football. Real man football. I'm just gonna say it. All right. Make me sound like a fucking old school elitist, but yeah, okay, that's what I'm saying. And I think and if any team in the AFC North, especially if the Steelers get eliminated, I'm gonna kind of pull for them. Represent the AFC North, guys. I told Charles Trainer that last year. Hey, represent the North, man. Represent us. You know, and I felt the same way about Baltimore. Baltimore got to the AFC Championship.
Yeah.
But I gotta be honest with you, I don't know if this team's gonna be quite as good as last year's team, except they do have Derrick Henry, and I think Derrick's still got some gas in the tank. So that was a good move for him. It was a good move, very shrewd, because Baltimore, yeah, they're for real. But there is one thing, they're going to lose 2 games for sure, or at least struggle, because as great as fucking Lamar Jackson is,
you're going to lose their home.
Oh, the Steelers have your number. Your numbers are very pedestrian. Lamar sucks against the Steelers. Yeah. Always has, always will. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, he's going to lose to Kansas City Thursday too.
Well, Kansas. Hey, well, okay, let's go. Okay, so we did
AFC North. We're going to the South, NFC.
We did NFC North, AFC North, and we did NFC
and AFC East.
Okay, so now we're going to the South.
Yeah.
NFC
Panthers, Saints, Bucks.
I'm going to say it right now. I think the Falcons. I'm picking the Falcons. I think they've made enough.
Panthers aren't shit. Saints aren't shit. Might as well be the Falcons.
And I think the Buccaneers are going to take a step back. I know Baker Mayfield had a good year with them, and I got to give the guy credit. Hey, you got a good for you, Baker, especially after Cleveland fucked you over like they did, you know. And I don't mean the fans. I know Baker was pretty beloved in Cleveland, or he seemed to be. Right. I'm talking about the organization. But there you go. I thought that was a stupid move. Number one, they let that kid play when he had no business playing when he was hurt.
Yeah.
He was fucking clearly hurt. He was hampering your team, and you kept putting him out there. I know he wanted to play, but you know how fucking footballs are. They're like the Black Knight and the fucking Monty Python Search of the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
It's but a flesh wound. They're not going to fucking stop. They're not
Oh.
going to quit. You have to, as coach, and that's on the coach, man. That's on management, the
If they're
coach.
going to say, put me in, coach, give me another shot, whatever it takes.
Right. Yeah. They're going to do it, whether it's like, it's not a flesh wound, coach. They don't care. They think they can fucking win no matter what.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I think Baker has a lot of heart. There's been times he's kind of pissed me off because I think Baker's good. Don't think he's really lived up to his first round draft status. Might have even been the number 1 pick overall. I can't remember. But with that being said, I think he is a decent quarterback. You can win games with him, especially if you put a good supporting cast. And Tampa has a good supporting cast. With that being said, though, that D line's getting older, that O line's getting older. I just don't know how long Tampa Bay can sustain it. And I don't mean any disrespect to them when I say that. I still think they'll be competitive. They have a shot. But I think Atlanta's made enough moves where they're going to be dangerous, man. Yeah. I'm picking Atlanta. I think Atlanta is going to win the NFC South. And I don't think anybody else is going to get in the playoffs, even though we got 3 wild card spots instead of just 2.
Yeah. No. I mean, Carolina isn't going to do shit. They're a horrible fucking team. I wanted to go to that game when Dallas came to town last year, go to Charlotte and watch that game. But I was like, man, that's going to be just such an annihilation. It's not going to be any fun to watch. And I don't want to get shot in Charlotte because a bunch of Panthers fans are pissed the fuck off that their team sucks and Dallas came to town. So, yeah, Carolina's not going to do shit. And I agree. I think Saint or the Bucks are going to step back a little bit. The Saints, who the
now,
fuck?
Do you think they could win because there's 3 wild card spots, and we've only given because you've said okay, like in the FC East, if Cowboys win, do you think the Eagles get a wild card?
I think the Eagles are the ones that get the wild card.
Okay, and in FC North, did we both pick Packers for the North?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we were both Packers,
and we picked Lions for the wild card, right? So that's 2.
Yeah.
And then we did AFC
East and North,
which we picked. We did pick Buffalo.
We got
but then there's 2 teams there that could end up they could end up to me. So it's like, I don't know. I'm kind of iffy on that.
Yeah.
Because I also think the AFC North, I guess I should make my picks for wild card too. So to get back to that with the AFC East, I'm going to say, I'm going to pick Buffalo, but I'm going to say that the Jets and the Dolphins, and I'm not trying to be a puss. I'm just being honest, man.
Just a tough
I think
call.
either one of them could take a wild card spot, or both of them could end up getting a wild card spot. Yeah, we have to acknowledge the talent in that division. Yeah. And same with AFC North, though. I got to be honest. I think the Bengals and the Ravens are the top contenders, but the Browns and the Steelers could sneak in there too. Yeah. So it's I'm going to pick Baltimore to win the division, but I definitely think the Bengals could end up upsetting that, and definitely are going to win one of the wild cards. Yeah. And then when it comes to the NFC South, I don't know if anybody else. There's going to be a 3rd spot open, but
I don't think there's a wild.
No, I don't think so. I think that's it. I think it's Atlanta, because if anybody's going to have the extra spot, it's going to be NFC West.
Yeah.
So, but we'll get to them in a minute. So we did NFC South. We both picked Atlanta, hands down, right? You agree?
Absolutely.
Okay, AFC South.
Yeah, Texans, Colts, Jags, Titans. Texans and Titans are the only ones I can think of doing anything.
I don't think you should discount the Colts, and I'll tell you why. That running back of theirs is going to be healthy. They've got a pretty goddamn good defense, and Gardner Minshew came this close to taking the playoffs. So I don't think we can just look past Indy. It all depends on whether that quarterback, who, by the way, was playing awesome before he got hurt. So much so that, believe it or not, in fantasy football, people are taking him way high. I'm like, to me, that's a high risk, high reward. Sometimes that shit pays off in fantasy football. I think Indy could end up with a wild card. Maybe. It all depends on how everything shakes out in that conference, though.
Yeah.
The Jaguars.
Nothing. They're nobody.
I don't know, but I think the Titans are going to take a step back. They don't have Derrick Henry. They're starting a young quarterback. Now, Will Levis played pretty decently, but we don't really know how good he is.
Right.
I think the 2 teams, I'm going to go the Texans. I think the Texans take the division again. They were the surprise team. They fucking dominated. And now they've even gotten more weapons and more people. You know what? I'm just going to call it the AFC Stroud. Okay. It's their division.
Yeah.
Wild card or second place is going to end up between Jacksonville and Indy. I think Tennessee might end up finishing last, believe it or not.
Wow.
Because it's either going to be them or I just don't think Tennessee did enough in the offseason. Now, with that being said, I don't think they're going to be a bad team. Again, that's kind of a competitive division because the Jaguars, the Jaguars show flashes, they show times, but that quarterback of theirs, to me, even though they paid him, I don't think he's not the generational talent they made him out when he got drafted. They were making him out like he's going to be another Peyton Manning. He ain't.
Yeah.
Sorry. Also, let's be honest, they've been bit by the injury bug quite a bit. But again, maybe it's because they were part of the AFC Central with the Steelers. So I've always had a certain amount of respect for the Jaguars. So I don't know for sure, but I think I'm going to call it. I think it's going to be Texans. And I'm going to pick the Titans to finish last. And maybe Indy and Jacksonville. It's going to come down between them two. I guess I need to pick, though. Indy and Jacksonville. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I drafted Trevor Lawrence on my fantasy football team. He fucked me, so fuck Jacksonville.
Yeah, I definitely think the Texans take the division. I really don't care about anything else after that because I don't think they have a strong enough division to grab a wild card because
there's a podcast I follow called Fantasy Footballers, and they literally said they were going through the divisions and they put the AFC South and marked out South and put Stroud.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like, I mean, dude, and they're loaded. They're loaded. Like that was a team that when they drafted Stroud and they drafted that amazing defense, I'm like, okay, they're going to be better. And I thought they were going to be better right away. But even I didn't think dude, they blew everybody away.
Yeah.
And they fucking smacked Cleveland in the mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, in the mouth. And that was a guy who was, I think, a defensive coordinator for fucking San Fran.
Yeah.
So there you go, man. Kyle Shanahan's coaching tree already. Dude, I think they're the team to beat in that division, man. Look out for the Texans. They could produce some damage in the playoffs, too.
Completely agree. Move to the NFC West. I think this division isn't as tough as people say because 49ers, they're the team to beat. You know,
they are the team to beat. I am picking them to win the NFC West.
Yep.
But
it's down the team to beat.
Look out for LA. I think LA is going to be a lot better than people think.
Yeah.
I mean, because they improved and they kind of did they go to the playoff? If they didn't, they came close. They didn't have a losing record. Sean McVay's a great coach.
Yep.
He's got those players buying into what he's doing. They've also made some excellent draft picks, even though they haven't had first rounders. Look out for the Rams, as much as it pains me to say that.
Right.
The Seahawks, they got a new coach. I think they could end up finishing last. I think I'm going to take Arizona over them. I think Arizona could be a surprise because you got Marvin Harris Jr. Okay. Now he's a rookie, but if he's anything like daddy with Kyler Murray, and they got weapons.
Mm-hmm. Arizona was one of those teams.
With Arizona is their defense. I don't think their defense is that great. So that's going to be their Achilles heel.
But it's
fantasy football purposes. That means Kyler Murray and company's going to have to score a lot of points. I have Kyler Murray on my fantasy football team. But you know what? I picked up the young quarterback from Chicago as my backup, just in case he blows up. So I'm picking Niners hands down. In fact, I think the Niners have an excellent shot at going back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they're fucking tough. I hate them. God, I hate them.
But look out for Green
Niners. You know, and Rams and Cardinals, I think it would be pretty good teams. Cardinals are one of those teams that can always sneak in anyway. They're always like that. They can fucking sneak in.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, Seattle, they're who? Exactly.
They're done. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that there's going to be some good players on that team. But I think that, and also we don't know what this new coach is going to be like. We don't really know his philosophy for sure. We don't know what kind of offense. We don't know. I mean, so you have to take that into consideration. Any team that has a new head coach, it could be different. Now, it could be a good different or a bad different.
Right.
Because there is one thing to get back to the NFC South. I also want to say, I think the head coach for the Carolina Panthers is a fucking douchebag and awful.
Oh, he's horrible. Horrible.
He just says some of the stupidest things. I'm like, if I'm a Panthers fan, I'm like, what the fuck? Get rid
Yeah.
of that guy.
Yeah.
Like, he just says some of the stupidest shit where I'm like, huh?
That's what sucks about this part of the country I live in is I can watch every Panthers game I want to see. You can believe that because it's on all the local channels around here.
Well, I mean, to be
Yeah.
fair though, there have been periods in time where the Panthers have been a competitive team. They've been to 2 Super Bowls for fuck's sake. So, you can't totally tear on them. But here they've been struggling honestly, I think ever since Cam Newton went down, it has not been the same.
He got weird after a while there too. He was kind of being kind of diva-ish. I think that bit him in the ass too.
It did.
Because he certainly wasn't producing on the field to be acting like he was Joe Namath or something,
Right.
Look, you're not Broadway Joe. You're fucking Cam Newton, quarterback for a shit fucking team. Let's get it together. Yeah, Niners take the division. Niners might be the team to beat in the NFC.
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
in the NFC.
All right. So we
whole
got our
conference.
division winners and we got our possible wild cards.
Well, we haven't done
I'm
the
not
West
predicting
AFC.
what the matchups are going to be, but who do you think is going to represent? Oh, wait, before we do that, we gotta do AFC West.
Yeah, Broncos.
Okay, well,
Raiders,
do you want to go
Chargers.
first or do you want me to do
Yeah.
it?
I'm going to go on a limb, out on a limb here, and I'm going to say the Chiefs take the division
Oh, yeah, you're going on a limb, bro.
again.
Look, I'm going to say it right now. Those motherfuckers are so goddamn good because here's the thing that's scary about the Chiefs. They didn't have the offensive fire. I mean, they struggled offensively last year. The
Yeah,
reason why they made it to the playoffs was because that defense, that Steve Spagnuolo defense, which by the way is the same defensive coordinator that beat Tom Brady, and the Patriots during their perfect season
yeah.
and fucking smashed them. That guy is their defensive coordinator, and that fucking Chiefs defense ended up being a lot better than people thought. They're the reason they got in the playoffs. They're the reason they got as far as they did, and they're the reason they won the Super Bowl. I'm going to just say, not taking away anything from Patrick Mahomes or the offense, because they're good too, but they kind of struggled, man, and the defense they did what they were supposed to. When your offense is struggling, your defense has to pick it up and up their game, and that's what they did.
They fucking did.
Yeah, and with Andy Reid, and I know some people want to hate on him, and because they win so much, but hey, that's just the way it is. Patrick Mahomes is a fucking winner, guys. You can hate on him if you want. I mean, I guess it's kind of like Tom Brady all over, but for some reason, Patrick doesn't piss me off like Brady did.
Right.
Also, let's be honest, the Chiefs don't get embroiled in weird shit like Spygate, Deflategate, weird shit. And Andy Reid, I love him. I've always been an Andy Reid fan.
I liked him when he was at Philly.
Yeah, and I hate Philly. But part of the reason why I hate Philly is the way they treated that man. They were horrible to him. And they were horrible to fucking Donovan McNabb. I'm like, you guys are, man, they are fucking hardcore. They booed Santa Claus for fuck's sake during Christmas. I'm like, damn.
Philly's they're a shitty fucking group of people. I'm sorry.
They really, I mean, city of brotherly love.
I hate to talk shit about an entire city, but yeah, the city of brotherly love.
I've heard, now I don't know if this is true, but I heard they're the only stadium in the NFL that literally has a courthouse in the stadium.
I think
where people can get fucking arrested and tried or, disciplined and fined right then and there. Now, whether that's true or not,
I've heard that too. Is that true, listeners? You got to let us know.
Yeah, anybody lives in Philly, and I'm sorry, but maybe I don't want to group everybody and say, oh, but it just seems to me, or maybe it was just a loud, minority. But it was like every time when I would watch NFL Network, they would play the local Philly radio. You know how they do when they cover a team, they would play the local radio from whatever team. And all of them, I'm so glad when the Andy Reid era is over. I'll be so glad. Now, I'll give Philly credit for one thing. That front office is fucking good. And they've been smart. Like when they, they sucked right away when Reid left. But eventually they've gotten some good coaches and they've built a hell of an organization. I mean, man, the guys that are in charge of that front office and the coaching have done a hell of a job. I will give them that. And that's why I'm thinking, because the general manager, Andy Waddle, is from Philly, and now he's with the Steelers. So I'm kind of hoping he does the same thing here in Pittsburgh. With our guy, Omar Khan, the Khan man. I love that. And I think Omar's done a great job in the drafts the last few years. Like I said, it was somebody, he's been with the organization. He was the guy that was our fucking salary cap fucking maestro. Like this guy, the way he structures contracts and he'll find ways to keep play, like he's fucking awesome. And I think he's done really, really well with, the Steelers drafts in the last few years.
Right.
Like I said, I think Colbert needed to go, man. Hey, I love you, bro. Thank you for everything you did. But it's kind of like what I said about the Cardinals. Bye-bye, Mozeliak. Just bye.
Yeah.
Like somebody, and take your shitty coach, manager with you because he sucks.
So here's my question. Do you think we have the same Super Bowl this year?
It's possible. I mean, dude, the Chiefs could be they're so good.
Yeah.
It's scary.
They're the next fucking dynasty. I mean,
they are, and dude, they could end up being the first three-peat. They're that fucking good.
Yeah.
There's
ways of making it happen. I was watching some preseason play, and he's fucking doing behind the back passes and shit. I'm like, what the fuck is this? We're not playing basketball.
Dude, that guy does shit that
an innovator.
I know he's not human. It's like he does shit that I don't see anybody doing.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, dude, they're already a dynasty. They've won what, 3 already?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And of course, they won they won Super Bowl 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Or no. Yeah, Super Bowl 4. But yeah, man. I mean, you got, Mahomes, they've been to 4 since Mahomes has become their quarterback and won 3.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
I mean, holy shit, dude. They're already a dynasty as far as I'm fucking concerned.
Yeah.
So if they do that alone, to me, their legacy is already assured.
Yeah, they'll definitely be the team of the 20s.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Oh, them in San Francisco, I think, go to the dance. And I hate to say it. Because I hate San Francisco. And I so bad want Dallas to do something. And we've got great players. Everything's in place. Get over that fucking hump. I'm sick of the one and done playoffs.